Hey friends, it's Danielle at Dry Hollow Homestead, and I'm bringing you along on some of the things I get done in a day. This is another Saturday. So I'm actually putting a gallon of milk into my pot, and I'm going to start cottage cheese. I believe the temperature that we need to get it to was 70? Yep, 70. Let's go with 70. 70 degrees. I definitely made a mistake. Oh, I was showing you my Gouda. I salt surfaced this Gouda, and I'm flipping it, and I'm going to cover it again. By the end of this video, we are actually going to vacuum seal that Gouda. But I definitely should have done way more milk to make cottage cheese. I should have done at least 2 or 3 gallons. This is a mesophilic. I'm doing like a quarter of a teaspoon, and it didn't actually fill it up, but I just went with it. It was more like almost a quarter of a teaspoon, and I sprinkled that on the surface once we got to 90 or 70 degrees for this cottage cheese. Yeah, don't let me do this cottage cheese again without making at least double, maybe even triple, because it lasted one evening. It was gone in the first evening that I made it. So that's great. I'm glad it never gets wasted, but it was a long process. So you let that rehydrate. The culture you rehydrate on the surface for 5 minutes, and then you stir that in an up-down fashion, and then I'm going to add my rennet. I believe it's a quarter teaspoon of rennet into a quarter cup of water for 1 gallon of milk. And I'm using my 200 Easy Cheese Recipes cheese book for this, and I recommend that book for anybody who is trying to make their dairy at home. I must be getting my rennet out of the fridge. I don't know where I went. Over there on the counter is my sour cream that I had culturing overnight. We end up putting that in the fridge. That's finishing up. Sour cream is really easy. You just add culture, a mesophilic culture. I usually just use a starter culture for that from like the freezer, from the freeze-dried, store-bought, not store-bought, Amazon-bought culture to make the sour cream. And we have the temperature at 70 degrees, so room temperature cream for that. And then add your culture, let it rehydrate for 5 minutes on the surface, and then mix it in, and then let it culture on the counter for like 24 hours. So that's how you make that sour cream back there. Cottage cheese, just added the rennet and in the water. Quarter teaspoon of rennet in a quarter cup of water, and then it has to set for 2 hours, so we got lots to do. And now I'm showing you that we also have bone broth going on the other counter, so we're gonna do something with that today. It's fun, it's interesting. Yeah, we do quite a bit in one day, so I'm gonna bring you along again, kind of on a day in the life. Just some things that we're doing, not everything. I'm sorry, I look like the way I feel. I have a migraine, so this happens very rarely anymore, but I used to have migraines so many times. So I think I'm trying to fight a cold or something. There's definitely lots of things going around us. We really haven't gotten anything yet, so maybe we're just trying to fight it off. So I'm gonna bring you along, but I'll probably do a voiceover for most of it because my head hurts and I don't want to talk a whole lot. But we do have cottage cheese downstairs that I'm making. It has a long sit time after you add the culture and the rennet. It has a 2-hour sit and wait time, so that's what I'm doing now, waiting. And I already showered while I was waiting. We've milked the cow. We've washed the dishes from milking the cow. We've taken a shower. Did I say that? I am now folding clothes, but I have to do sauerkraut today. I don't have to, but I want to make sauerkraut together. And I also have bone broth that I'd like to try and can up. That has been simmering. I actually have to do something with it. It's been simmering overnight, and it is so ready to be canned. So I'm gonna bring you along. I'm gonna finish this, and then we'll go downstairs and start chopping up our cabbages. It started getting really warm, so I have to take my sweater off. I think I have a fever, so maybe that I am coming down with something. That is why I have the migraine today. That's usually my body's first way of telling me something's off. So let's see how much worse I get in this video. So I mashed it enough to where it would all fit in here. So I'm still working on mashing it. They actually have tools that are really good for mashing kraut. You're just wanting the to break up the cabbage to where the juices come out. You're giving it a massage. And the salt I've already added. That helps a lot to get them to let their juices out. So my guesstimate was that all that I've already cut up will fit into my gallon crock, but I might be off. I really wanted to do all of these in sauerkraut, but I only have this 1 gallon container. I could do it in a regular gallon jar, like glass jar that I put milk in, but I don't know what happens to all of our jars, because our glass jars for milk, they just disappear. So I really don't want to take up any more of them for kraut. Oh, so this will have to wait. This means my timer going off means that our cottage cheese is ready to be processed on the next step. So I think that's cutting curds. So come over here. Come a little closer. Let me see if I can point you down into it a little better. There you go. Haha. Let's see. This is 1 gallon. I never process 1 gallon. Seems like, is there even anything in there? Okay. So I gotta wash my hands so I don't have any cabbage in there. But this is not fermented yet, so I don't have to really worry about cross-contamination, other than just, you know, being clean. I don't have to worry about spores going from one to the other. Okay. I don't know. It could probably use a little longer. Yeah, I'm going to give it another 30 minutes. That is not quite a clean cut. I think another 30 minutes would be good on that. That was definitely quite mushy. So, here we go. Bringing you back over. We're going to keep working on this. Sauerkraut is so good for your nutrition. Just anytime you're souring something and letting it ferment naturally, not just with vinegar, but lacto fermentation. This is just going to be cabbage and salt. It is a powerhouse of nutrition for your gut, and it can actually help you lose weight, and it just helps the good bacteria inside your stomach. And you've probably heard me say before, like 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So 70% of what you eat needs to be good for that gut. No, I do think we should be more careful with what we eat. And sugar is something that kills bacteria. So So that's not a good thing for your gut, to have a ton an overproduction of sugar, or being fed too much sugar is going to kill that natural biome that you are trying to build up. But things like this, it's great. So yeah, maybe I should invest in that pounder thing. I don't know, because I could probably pound it in there if I had a pounder. Yeah, you tell me what you think. Do you have one of those if you make your own sauerkraut, and is it worth it? Like I said, I always weigh things out and see, like I use this for hundreds of different things, so I never had to spend more to use this. Same with the crocks in my bowl here. These are not just one thing. Is it making any difference? Can you tell? Alright, back to the hands. I do have a nifty little weight we're going to put on here today. My grandmother, she had huge crocks, and I actually have a huge one too. I think it's like an 8 crock. She would do the same kind of lacto ferment on corn on the cob, because it would be a summer fruit, a summer vegetable, and she would preserve it and we would eat it in the winter. I've had lots of other people try it and say they don't like it, like it just tastes bad, but I don't think they eat a whole lot of lacto fermented veggies. And I love the thought of it. I love the way it tastes. So this is something my grandmother handed down, passed down to me, and I very much remember her always having a crock full, like very large crocks, full of something that was fermenting. And she would call it pickling. I guess that's the same thing. But people nowadays, they associate pickling with just like vinegar. And that's not going to have quite the same health benefits as naturally fermenting. This is fermenting. But my grandmother would have those huge crocks sitting in her cellar, which was above ground cellar. It was just like those big cement blocks. They would have a building. They would put all their canning and stuff, and she'd have big crocks in there. She would put her veggies that she's fermenting in a saltwater brine, and then she would put, like if she was doing corn on the cob, she would do all the cobs into a clean pillowcase, and then she would lay a very clean rock on top, fill the container so that she would have the rock holding the veggies down below the surface of the salt water, and then on top of that she would have a plate, and then she would have like cloth and a string on top of it to keep bugs from going in. And I remember going out with her and getting things out of the crocks, and there would be like mold growing on top of the salt water. She'd just scrape it off, like no big deal at all. Nowadays I think people would like choke to think about it, but it was delicious, and it was one of my favorite things. Oh, it still brings back so many memories. So let me know if you have anything like that. I mean, my family's from West Virginia, so I feel like I have a little bit of a head start in some of the canning and fermentating than other people, but I didn't grow up with my parents doing that. I grew up just having my grandmother still do that. My great grandmother had a cook stove for her life, a cook fire stove, wood stove for her whole life, until she had to be homed with someone else, and she couldn't be home alone anymore. So very traditional cooking. Man, I wish I could borrow their ear for a little while. Again, they have both since passed on, and I think of them often when I'm in the kitchen doing these traditional cooking things and preparing food the traditional way. And they never had a milk cow. I would have loved to know someone who had a milk cow without power or refrigeration, and just what they did to preserve. Like, that's why people would make cheese to begin with, because you would have fresh milk for like the day that you had it, that you milked it, and then, you know, it would slowly start to change, and they would have to make it into something else so that they could eat it later. And that's where cheese would have come in. So it'd be awesome. I mean, we think we have to buy these packaged things off Amazon with the mesophilic culture and the rennet and all these things. But I guarantee you, our great grandmothers that had milk cows, they weren't ordering stuff like that. All right. You think I can get this to fit in there? You think I can? You think it will? Don't tell me a lie. Tell me the truth. You think? I'm making a horrible mess. But this so needed to be done. We are actually down to half of a pint of sauerkraut from spring that I made. So I want this to last all winter. So I'm probably going to have to come up with something to do the rest of these in, because I really want to have a lot. Okay, that all fit in there. And I haven't even worked real hard to get it down in. So I'm going to start chopping up some more. I would love to be able to fit all of this. Maybe leave out enough just for, let's leave out the biggest ones for cabbage roll in a bowl. I really like that. It's delicious. So leave one. Where's the other biggest one? These are little, but they are locally grown right across the road from us. So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna do this many more. And we are gonna make it fit, okay? We will. I'm gonna say 3 See, I told you it fit. It's barely fitting, and it is important when you're doing in fermentation like this, with lacto fermenting, you need the salt water to cover your salt brine, to cover the whole, all the vegetables, all of it. So I need a little more space in here, so I'm gonna keep kind of pressing down. My timer went off for this cottage cheese, but it still hasn't like pulled away from the side. So I think we're good until I'm done with this. And this will be sauerkraut. I'm hoping for the next year. I'm hoping that I can only have to do that, well, at least 6 months. Let's say until spring. This better last us till spring. I don't remember how much I did last time. I think I did like 2 gallons, and it didn't last us very long. But we're gonna pretend that this will last us all winter. Okay, so I'm trying to show you what I did here. I put some of the leftover leaves that were like the outer leaves on the surface, and I'm going to put my weight down now so that none of the little pieces come up, and then push down until the liquid is up above, and it will slowly like release its liquid and have less and less mass in there, the sauerkraut. So it would be nice to have something heavy on top to keep that pressing down, because I have that thing totally full to the max, like always. You can also just add some water on top to make sure it's filled up, which I might go ahead and do unless I can push it down enough. But we are still waiting on, no, actually I think we're ready. We're gonna go ahead and cut this cottage cheese curds. So now we actually begin the cutting process. We're going to cut these curds into 1/2-inch cubes. We want to go on all sides, and then to kind of get underneath, I kind of go at a 45-degree angle from all the sides. I'm definitely no expert in getting it perfectly. Once you have that, we're going to let it set for 5 minutes.
Stir these
curds gently for an hour. This is to make the cottage cheese. We are slowly getting the temperature up to 115. I am right at 70 still, so we are going to take the whole hour to get it up to 115 slowly. So I will be here and I will not leave this camera running. I already have, every time I do any kind of these like day in the life kind of stuff, I have so much footage, and I definitely won't be leaving this on. So I'm going to do this. I'll bring you back at the end. And I definitely am stirring a little too rough already. I can see that. Well, crud, I am so sorry. I forgot about you. I started watching YouTube videos, as I do when I'm making cheese, and forgot all about you. So we finished the whole hour of stirring. The whole hour of stirring. So I've made this before, but I don't very often because it just takes so long. And then I sanitized my cottage cheese. No, yeah, word. Cheesecloth. I sanitized it with boiling water. Put over this colander, dumped my curds into it, and rinse them with cold water. That's what you do. You don't have to hang it or anything. You just rinse it with cold water, put it in a container, and salt them. I don't know the math of salt. I just salt them. And now I'm going to clean the kitchen back up, and we have cottage cheese made. Now, we in America usually buy cottage cheese that has cream poured over it. So this is just what cottage cheese is without that. So whenever somebody goes to have a snack of cottage cheese, they're going to pour a little bit of cream on top of this. And it's really great for putting jam or something yummy on top. It's delicious. My husband, I think, likes pineapple, like chunked up pineapples on top. So this is going in the fridge. One thing done. Actually, two things done because we have that going too. So what was the other thing I said I wanted to get done? What was it? Tell me. Oh, I have this out to remind me to do bread. Oh, I know what it is. We have to get this dealt with. Yeah, she's ready. That's a lot of bone broth. And it's so good. So good for you. I don't know how many quarts this will end up being. So yeah, that is the next thing we have to do. Tell me this is worth it. Okay, kitchen's actually not a mess though. So I wanted to show you this Gouda. This is a surface salted Gouda. I've never done this before, and I'm not sure if it's going to be great or not. I hope so. So I think this is air dried enough to where I can go ahead and vacuum seal it. So I should probably do that too. The sour cream that was on the counter I already put in the fridge. It smelled delicious, and I'm ready to have chips and dip or something crazy and stupid like that because my head hurts. But instead, maybe I should go ahead and start my sourdough. Should we do that? Should we start a sourdough now and then can? Or what should I do? You're not being very helpful. Okay, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I need to get the bones out of... Do you see me? You can't even see. I need to get the bones out of my bone broth. So I just washed these for making cottage cheese. I'm going to stick my colander on top of my pot because that fits. And that's a good thing. And now I'm going to bring over my very hot Nesco. This doesn't seem like a good idea. Okay, I'm going to slide my Nesco right here. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Is this a bad idea? Tell me what you think. Okay, let's take this off. This is just unnecessary at this point. We don't really need the lid on. Okay. It needs to cool for a second, maybe. Maybe that would be a good idea. I want to take it over there. I guess I can just move my dirty dishes to the other side of the sink. It's only like 4 things. Look at that. Okay, so now I'm going to... Now what? Now what do I do? I've got it all figured out. Not. Okay, I'm going to start with like getting some of the big bones out. of a mess am I making over there? Okay. I wonder if I could keep going with these bones or if I should give them to the dogs. Not sure. I still have a really bad headache, but oh my gosh, it's 4:24. Do you know what time it gets dark? I'll take you. Can you see me? I hope so. I will take you out this evening when I milk, because these days, I have to milk with a headlamp, like I'm in Canada. I mean, I could go out and milk right now, but I milked late this morning because I slept in. I told you that. But I milked at like 9:30. So it's only 4:30. She probably wouldn't have that much. So giving her a little bit more time would be better. I could maybe even go down to once a day milking with her, but I don't want to yet because I want to confirm that she's bred before we worry about that. And yeah, well, she just got bred, so. There's bone marrow. Okay. Yeah, now what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put an apron on because grease doesn't come out. When I wash things, it doesn't. What if I go like this? Nope, doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem like a good idea. Maybe not. Maybe I go like. Why didn't you tell me I was making a big mess? Hot. Oh, it's hot. Okay. What was I doing? I was scooping it out before. How did I do that? I know I wasn't doing it with my hand. Did I drop it in? I did. It's in there. My spatula's in there. What am I going to do now? It looks kind of gross, but it's not. It smells awesome. It really does. I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you even watching me? For my expertise in these things? No. Okay. Hot. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's try maybe doing something like this. Like we'll get some hot pot holders. Yeah. Nothing is ever where you think it's supposed to be. Oh, maybe I can use these suckers. Got some things. Now I feel a little more prepared. This isn't hot. Okay, now that's better. And then, all right. We're getting somewhere. You see me now? Now. They make it look so easy. People make it look so easy. Am I making it look easy? I'm lying. There's my spatula. Okay. It's okay. Everybody got it. I'm gonna kind of put some of those in there because there's still some good stuff in the bottom. how easy that was. I'm being sarcastic. That was not easy at all. Not easy at all. Ay, ay, ay. And it's so hot. Okay, Instapot is so much faster. Well, okay, it's so much more convenient. I don't know if it's faster. I don't know if that would be the right word. You can do so much more in something like this, but it is so much easier to use the Instapot because then it's in a container that's a little bit easier to maneuver. But you only get, so my Instapot's only 6 quarts. So I wouldn't get near as much. And I'm not sure if I should can these. I have plenty of cans down in the cellar. I might let this cool and freeze it because I don't, I have a little bit of space in my freezer. But I don't know. I might even actually strain this one more time. I definitely will. But I'm going to let it cool for a minute to deal with this mess. I just don't always like getting my what you call it out. You know what I'm talking about? It feels like a whole to-do. Is it really a big to-do? Okay, so I just sealed up this Gouda. I think I told you this earlier, maybe not. I don't know. But I surface salted this Gouda. I've never done that before, but I'm trying it. And this was on the recommendation from Cheese from Scratch on Instagram. She's very knowledgeable in cheese making, and I watch everything that she has. So she did this. She said to do this, so I did. And I'm not sure if I like it, but doing it, putting this in the fridge, Gouda takes 6 weeks. Yes, 6 weeks, I think. You know, I don't trust my brain sometimes. 6 weeks to ripen. But I fed my clabber. I'm trying to grow some clabber. Grow clabber? Develop? Whatever. I don't know. Words. But clabber. Fresh raw milk, when I brought it in, I left a pint out when it was warm. I set it on the counter and let it set. It took 2 to 3 days. I don't even know if it took 3 days for it to become one solid mass at room temperature. That is clabber. Cheese from Scratch says not to use that clabber at first like that as a cheese making starter culture until after it's been established. So once it has the thickness, then you take down, you use up all of it, you like take off, discard, whatever, just like sourdough. But clabber, you take off all but like a tablespoon I don't know, I'm so bad about directions. It's like 1 or 2 tablespoons in a pint. Leave that in there, fill it back up with fresh milk and let it set, and it takes now 24 hours. It's totally a mass at 24 hours. So I'm learning how to make clabber and to use it for things, but it's really close to my milk kefir, and the clabber smells identical to my milk kefir. So I don't know if I'm might be doing that wrong, but listen to this. I have so many things going right now. So I have my milk kefir on that side of the room, on top of my baker's cabinet. I've showed you before, right next to the Berkey. And next to that, on the other side of that, I have my milk clabber that I'm trying to establish. On the as far as you can reach down here on this table or my counter is my kombucha. I have never even showed you anything about that yet. So the kombucha's all the way over there, right? So sometimes there's other cultures I have too. So lacto ferment, you should probably not have next to a milk kefir. And sourdough starter, which I am really trying to keep my sourdough and my cheese away from each other because the sourdough has yeast that can go to your cheese. So those are definitely no-nos. So when I have a cheese out, try not to also at the same time have a sourdough out. Or if I do, to have like 6 feet apart. But right now I've got the sauerkraut on the counter that's lacto fermented. This has a mesophilic culture in it, so this is going in the fridge right now, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to be making cheese, I'm sure, in the next day or so. I just don't have enough space in this kitchen to keep everything apart from each other. And I need to make, I told you we need to make, sourdough. So, I don't know. what I'm doing next. Now I'm going to wash up the dishes. I was editing this video and noticed that I never said goodbye. I started feeling pretty cruddy that evening, and I'm feeling fine now, so it didn't last very long. But I ended up not having to go out to milk the cow because we had a, I'm sorry, I'm so shaky, a little contraption that we put over our calf's nose to keep her from milking that, or from nursing. That's the whole point of the thing, the calf, Sadie. She took it off. She got it off. That's the second time we've put it on her, and it hasn't lasted very long, and she has just completely ripped it off on the fence on purpose. So we really want to leave the calf, Sadie, with her mother, Mikiela. Just, we think it's better for her, just emotionally. She needs her mother, a bond with her mother, and she gets to be with her mom, like, right across the fence from each other. They, like, lay on the same, right next to each other, just with the fence in between. But I would love for her not to have to be apart from her. But she will nurse probably until she's 3 years old if we can figure out a way to keep her from nursing. So she had ripped that off her nose. Now we have them separated again, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. And so I went out to milk, and there was absolutely no milk, so there was no video. I didn't have to do that. God bless. We'll see you again next time. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, whatever you think. If you thought it was worth a thumbs up. I'll talk to you later. Bye.